Hello, dreamers and midnight wanderers. You found your way to Creepy Chills, where the dark is gentle and the nightmares are kind. Tonight, let the shadows pull you under. But first, whisper to the void below. Globe showing Europe, Africa, where in the world are you listening? Mantelpiece clock, what hour does the moon rule your sky? There's something beautiful about strangers drifting to sleep to the same haunted lullaby. If tonight's story carries you away, leave a comment or just let go. Now, close your eyes. The dark won't hurt you here. Pause, then softer. At least not tonight. The Lullaby of Hollow Hill. A gothic sleep story. The village of Hollow Hill had a secret. Not the kind whispered about in daylight. No, this secret only stirred when the moon rose high and the wind carried the scent of damp earth through cracked windows. Every child in the village knew it by heart, passed down from trembling lips at bedtime. Sing the lullaby, or they will come. The lullaby was simple. 5 lines, hummed more than sung, in a melody that curled like smoke from a dying fire. The words didn't matter. The sound did. Because as long as a child's voice carried through the dark, the hollow ones stayed at the foot of the bed, watching with their wide, wet eyes, but never touching, never claiming. Evie was the first to forget. She'd been sick for days, her throat raw from fever, her head stuffed with wool. That night, her mother kissed her forehead and whispered, "Sing, my love," just like always. But when Evie opened her mouth, no sound came out. The room grew colder. At first, she thought it was just the fever, the way the shadows near her wardrobe seemed to swell, breathing in time with a panicked heartbeat. Then she saw them. Pale figures, so thin their ribs pressed against papery skin, standing in a silent row at the foot of her bed. Their smiles stretched too wide, splitting their faces like seams on an overstuffed doll. And they were humming. Not the lullaby. No, this was something older, something that made Evie's bones ache. A tune that slithered into her ears and nested there, whispering. "We've always been here, waiting." She tried to scream. The hollow ones leaned closer, their breath smelling of turned soil and spoiled milk. One reached out, its fingers too long, the nails blackened and cracked. And then, from down the hall, her mother's voice. "Hush now, dear one. Don't you cry." The lullaby. The hollow ones froze. Their smiles twitched. Evie's mother pushed open the door, her voice steady as she sang the second line. The figures shuddered, their forms blurring at the edges like ink in water. By the third verse, they were gone, but the humming lingered, tangled in the silence between notes. Her mother didn't stop singing until dawn. The next morning, Evie's fever broke. She never forgot the lullaby again. But sometimes, when the wind dies and the house holds its breath, she'll hear it, faint from under her bed, a rasping, off-key hum, and she'll sing louder. The last broadcast of WXXV, an analog horror sleep story. Good evening, night owls and weary souls. You're listening to WXXV's Sleep Time Signals, the only station that plays through the witching hours. I'm your host, Martin Clay, and tonight, well, let's just say I've been getting some strange calls about our broadcast. A pause, a sip of coffee. The sound is too loud in the empty studio. Some of you say you're hearing other voices in the static, whispers between tracks. Well, I've checked the tapes. There's nothing there. Must be your tired mind playing tricks. Another pause, a nervous chuckle. So let's try something special tonight. No music, just silence. The kind that fills empty rooms at 3 a.m. Let's see if your voices come out to play. Static rises, then falls into dead air. Transcript recovered from WXXV archives. Final broadcast. Martin Clay's log, October 31st, 1987. I shouldn't have taken the call. It came at 2:17 a.m., the phone ringing despite being unplugged all week. A woman's voice, frayed at the edges. You have to stop the broadcast. They're using the static to cross over. I laughed. Halloween prank. But then I heard it, a wet clicking sound behind her words, like something learning to shape human sounds. The line went dead. Now the studio feels wrong. The glass in the booth is colder than it should be. My breath doesn't fog it. And the silence between songs? It's not silence anymore. Static buzzes for 12 seconds. Underneath, a whispered "Help US." Martin's log, 2:49 a.m. The tapes are playing on their own. I didn't queue up white noise for deep sleep, side B, but it's running anyway. The reels are turning backwards. The voicemail light is blinking. 17 messages, all from my home number. I live alone. Distorted piano music plays. A child's voice giggles in reverse. Martin's log, 3:03 a.m. They're here, not in the studio. Not exactly, but in the space between the frequencies. I can see them when the static hits just right. Pale faces pressed against some invisible barrier, mouths moving in sync with the whispers. The last caller was right. We left the door open too long. The house that dreams. A psychological horror sleep story. Soft rainfall ambience. A clock ticks in the distance. You're having the dream again, aren't you? Dr. Chin's voice floated through the dim therapy office. The scent of lavender tea couldn't mask the antiseptic bite of the clinic. James ran a hand through his unwashed hair. It's always the same. I'm standing in my hallway. There's a door at the end that doesn't belong. Last night, it was only 6 feet away. The rain tapped harder against the window. Dream doors represent life changes, Dr. Chin said, clicking her pen. Your subconscious processing the move. James slid his phone across the table. The screen showed his apartment hallway. At the end, a warped oak door with a tarnished brass knob. Then why does it exist in real life? Pen clatters to the floor. James' dream journal, night 1. The door appeared on my first night in the apartment. 30 feet down the hall. Just waiting. I woke screaming, my sheets soaked through. The landlord swore no such door existed. But when I checked, there it was. Faint lines in the wallpaper where it hadn't been. Pages turning. A draft whistles through cracks. Night 3. Closer tonight. 20 feet. I could see details. The way the wood grain formed screaming faces. The knob turned slowly, though no one touched it. My therapist says it's sleep paralysis. Then why did I find my slippers facing the door this morning? Floorboards creak. Something drags slowly. Night 7. 10 feet away now. The gap beneath the door pulses with something darker than shadow. It smells like old books and wet cement. Dr. Chun suggested medication. I didn't tell her about the whispers. James. Not my name. Not quite. A knock. Then another. Irregular. Metallic. Night 12. It's here. Touching distance. The knob is ice cold even in dreams. Today I found my bedroom door unlatched. The hallway was longer. The wrong door, now halfway to my room. Dr. Chun isn't returning my calls. Static-like whisper, let me in. Final entry. I opened it. Not in the dream. In reality. The hallway stretched into impossible darkness. The door stood open just a crack. Something glittered inside, like broken glass or teeth. Dr. Chun came by tonight. Said she was concerned. I showed her the door. She didn't scream when it took her. Just sighed like she'd been expecting this. Now it's in my bedroom doorway. I can hear it breathing. The kind things underground. A cosmic horror sleep story. Soft cricket chirps. A fan whirs. Then, scratching. The sound began on a Tuesday. Small at first, just a skitter beneath the floorboards near the radiator. Sarah wrote it off as mice. By Thursday, the scratching had rhythm. Scritch scratch. Scritch scratch. Like something politely asking to be let in. Pest control report. Incident number 4821. Technician, Ray Montero. No signs of rodent activity. No droppings, no nesting materials. But client was correct about the scratching. It's coming from inside the walls. Cut open floorboard in bedroom. Found tunnel. Not animal made. Too smooth. Too circular. Like something melted through. Going down with camera. We'll update. Paper rustling. Next page stained with something dark and viscous. They're not rats. They're kind. They wait until you're asleep to show you. Sarah's journal, night 5. Ray never came back. His van was still parked outside when I woke up. Keys in the ignition. Coffee thermos full. The police found his flashlight in my basement. It was still on. The beam pointed at a hole in the foundation wall. Too small for a man to crawl through. But something had dragged itself out. Pencil lead snaps. Dull thuds under floor. Night 7. I've started sleeping during the day. At night, the walls hum. Not a sound, a feeling. Like when you press your ear to a seashell, but the ocean whispers back. This morning, I found my bedroom slippers arranged facing the closet. I don't own slippers. Metallic taste in the air. Static building. Night 9. They show me things when I pretend to sleep. Faces pressed too close to mine. Not human, but trying to be. Smiles stretched over too many teeth. They don't breathe. They vibrate. Last night, one whispered. We kept the pest man. He sings with us now. It sounded like Ray's voice. If you filtered it through honey and broken glass. Final entry. I understand now. They've always been here. Beneath every house, every city. Waiting for us to stop noticing the sounds. They're not cruel. They just want to teach us how to dig. The scratching has stopped. Because tonight, I've started scratching back. The station where no one gets off. A liminal horror sleep story. Distant train whistle. Steel wheels humming on tracks. Conductor Eli Whitaker knew every ghost story on the Metro Nightline. The phantom brakeman of Car 12. The sobbing in Tunnel 7. But this was new. Last stop, Ravenswood Station. The platform stood empty under flickering fluorescence, except for her. A woman in a water-stained blue dress. Pale as a moth's wing. Boarding at 3:07 a.m. Always 3:07 a.m. Eli's log, October 14th. First notice passenger number 347 tonight. Didn't scan her ticket, just glided right past. Sat in seat 14B. Here's the thing. Seat 14B was removed after the 83 accident. There is no 14B. She got off a Holloway. Platform cameras show no one exiting. But when I checked 14B, the seat was warm. October 21st. She's back. Same dress. Same vacant smile. Tonight, I saw her reflection in the window, except it kept smiling after she stopped. Asked dispatch about Ravenswood Station. They said, paper shuffling, a sharp intake of breath. That line was decommissioned in 1983. Metallic creaking. Something drags in the next car. October 28th. Followed her tonight. She led me through 7 cars, each older than the last. The final car, it wasn't mine. Brass fittings, oil lamps, like a train from the 1920s. The seats were full. Every passenger turned to look at me with her face. She whispered, "You missed your stop." Final entry, October 31st. I understand now. Ravenswood isn't a station. It's a threshold. The 3:07 a.m. isn't a train. It's a hearse. She's not a passenger. She's the conductor.